Good evening, everyone. Ethan here. So tonight I'm going to make a brief follow-up video to last evening's video about the DIY homemade Halloween star. Now tonight I'm going to just focus on the purple star with the moon and the eyes, whereas last night I focused on both stars I made. Tonight I really want to just focus on this one because it's a little more complex. It was a little more complex to make than the fall colored one, which was simply just adding two more strands of different colored lights onto an already made frame with already placed on lights, the clear original lights. So that one is very easy. Anyone can make it at any time. Took me maybe 20 minutes to string the lights around it, and it was very simple to make. You just put the lights, connect them together, and you're good to go. That's pretty much all it was for that star. This one, on the other hand, was a little more complicated to do, and I'm going to begin to go over that. So, right away, from beginning, you want to plan something of this creation out, of this level of complexity, and it really, I shouldn't say it was too complex to make, but it did require a little bit of thinking, and I did change the original design a little bit from what I was going to do. And pretty much, here are the things you're going to need right off the bat. Obviously you're going to need a frame. You're going to need a star frame, or if you want to make a moon even, anything, a pumpkin. You're going to need a frame, preferably a metal or a light plastic or even a wood, although wood can get heavy and it won't necessarily look as nice with lights on it unless it's just like a thin wood that the lights are around and it's like an open frame, which is hard to make out of wood. So it's easier to take advantage, like when a store sells something on clearance, like a star, like they still make these, I believe, or they make them in some form, maybe not this exact one anymore. But if you just go, like at the end of the holiday season, pick it up on clearance, bring it home, take it off. You can strip the original lights off. Takes like 10 minutes. They just yank right off pretty much. Be gentle with them. I mean, maybe you want to save the lights and just remove them from the star, or you want to leave them on and just add other lights like I did with the other star that's new to the Halloween season. And that star I only have about 2 or 3 years. The second frame, that's a newer one. That was actually part of the centerpiece of Christmas of 17, but that's not really important here. What's important here is to remember, after you get the frame, you should really begin deciding what you want to do with it. And especially if you do it near to the holiday season. Now, this idea I had a bit of an advantage with because of the purple lights already. I had put the purple lights on the star back for the Easter and spring display where the blue lights were on with it. Whereas now it's just going to be the purple Halloweenish looking lights, and the blue lights will not be part of it. They're still on because I'll probably use the blue ones again, and I might actually take the purple ones off after this. I don't know. I have to wait and see what lights are working yet. So yes, take advantage of any lights, and usually you can reuse them from season to season depending on what you want to make out of them. Anyway, so besides that, you're going to want to decide where you want to hang it up. Now, I like to put something like this up in the air and make it like the centerpiece of the display. So this star is going to be up roughly 13, 14 feet probably in the air, maybe a little higher, probably not a whole lot less than 14 feet. And it's going to be a main focus of this year's display. So you're going to want a pipe or a flagpole, or even a thin, larger tree to hang it on. Preferably a thinner pipe like this, because yes, you can see the pipe now, and with the LED and the moon, it lights it up. But once it's against the dark night sky, you'll still see the pipe, but because of the dark sky around it, you won't really see the piping as much. And especially if you're not right up close, whereas a tree, you're probably going to see it, or anything, so like a piping or a flagpole works best. And with that, you're going to want to have some sort of hole or opening in the pipe so you can put a zip tie through and make sure, like the frame of the star, the reason I put the zip strip through the middle or in any of this piping is so that it prevents the frame and the star, from sliding back and forth like this, like how my hand's moving. You don't want that, because even if this pipe can rotate around, you don't want to have to go out every day after your display from September to the beginning of November and have to rotate this pipe around to make this star stand straight again. Now, that's not necessarily, I mean, it's a major thing I like to do. Now, if your pipe does easily rotate around, you can always just go out and change it so that it faces forward, but I'd rather enjoy the star than have to work on it more than when I originally created it. You know, once it's up, you're supposed to enjoy your display. You don't want to have to work on it even more, as much as you don't have to. Anyway, so yeah, make sure this piping's in because it prevents it. I should say the hole, I'm sorry. Make sure the opening or hole's in it so it prevents this frame from spinning all the way around. And you can do some other zip ties throughout it to help reinforce it. You don't have to go crazy and waste your whole pack of zip ties, though, because, you know, zip ties really aren't that cheap anymore, really. And so you want to put them to good use, or even use baler twine. That can kind of help. Or I wouldn't use bread ties, though, because they don't really stay together. So a zip tie or a cable or baler twine will work to help hold this frame. Anyway, after that, you want to decide pretty much what accessories are going to go on the star or on the pole with it. So here, for example, these eyes are attached to the frame of the star. There was really no other way for me to do those that they'd match up with the star. I wouldn't be able to just hang them right on the piping in any way. So yes, this puts a little more weight on the star. So you want to make sure these are hanging on good, and you want to make sure your star's enforced as well. And with that, you also want to consider what else you want to hang on the pole itself. Now here, I took advantage of both the star frame and the piping to do the moon in the center here. So when you look at this in the back here, you can see it's wired to the frame and as well as zip tied to the pole. If I go in the back there, you can see it. So pretty much with that, that provides an advantage. This here prevents it from sliding down the pole, and this prevents this from spinning all the way around. So that really reinforces it. And then, of course, I just simply tied the rest of this in the back here. So everything, despite it being a heavy frame and a heavy star, the piping, make sure it's secure, especially if it's like a transportable piping or removable piping, not a permanent grounding like a flagpole, really. Even though most flagpoles I think you can remove from their slots, this, make sure there's extra piping underneath, or like large, like I usually put a 6-foot stake under my other set, the thinner set. This is the first time I'm using the larger set for anything, but it's a lot more sturdy, and the piping just attaches at the bottom. There's little slot openings, and then there's little buttons on the next set that connect up into that hole and connect it together. And I'm going to use this because this is one of the heavier centerpiece displays I've done. And this, it's not as wobbly and loose as the thinner piping, which I probably will be using in the display as well, but I'm not sure with what yet, but that'll probably get featured. So, yeah, decide on your accessories. Don't overthink it either. It's, a lot of times I think with these homemade things, it's easy to overthink things or think it's a lot more difficult than it is. Just use your imagination. Don't overthink it, and you're good to go. And pretty much, so, place to hang it from, piping, zip ties, the openings, accessories, depending on where it is, too, where it's located from an electrical outlet, you want to have an extension cord of some sort, of some size, and figure if your outlet for the star, I should say your plug for the star, the eyes, or the moon, or in this case all three, are all the way at the top, 14 feet above the ground, you're not just going to need 100 feet to the bottom of this pole. You're going to need, if this is 14 feet up and you have 100 feet, you're going to need like an extra 14, 15 feet, depending on how high up the plug is from the ground. So, you know, you got to take that into consideration. But all in all, you should be good to go with those simple tips. I hope this video was helpful in some capacity. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good night. All right, bye-bye.